This video will discuss Chapter 7.5, using percent equation. So the percent equation is similar to the percent proportion. So if you think of the percent proportion, which is this, part over whole is 1 ratio equals the percent over 100. And so in this particular equation, what you're going to end up doing is using the decimal of the percent, which means you're no longer going to divide by 100, because you're going to, or no longer going to put it over 100 because you're going to have already divided it by 100. So if you think of the idea of this being 75 over 100, instead of writing it as 75 over 100, you're going to divide 75 by 100 and get 0.75. So this percent now is written in decimal form. Then to get the percent equation, all we end up doing is multiplying the whole times this side and the whole times this side. And so the percent equation, essentially after we cancel these out, becomes part equals percent. I'm going to write this nicely so that you can, times whole. So part equals percent times whole. Unfortunately, that's what writing it nicely looks like. All right, on what I want you to see, and you don't necessarily have to be responsible for this red part, but I do want you to understand where it's coming from. This is not a magical equation somebody came up with. It's essentially the percent proportion, and you just play around with the numerator and denominator and turn basically get rid of the denominator and turn everything into a number. Now remember percent, and one of the key things is that this is written in decimal form, which means you have to then change it from decimal form into a percent. We'll leave that there. We're going to come back to it in just a moment. So, if I want to find what number, I want to find 62% of what number. And if you remember when we talked about this, we used the word of to determine what would go here, and then whatever word came immediately after of, we said was the whole. So essentially of was my line dividing the numerator from the denominator. So if you think about it again as this being of, that means that this is going to be the whole. So as I look at this part equals percent times whole, I don't know what the part is, so I'll call that x. I know the percent, but remember I have to write this in decimal form. And then I need to find, and then I know what the whole is. The whole is 75. So we need to take 0.62, and we need to multiply that times 75, and that'll give me 46.5. So, what is 62% of 75? 46.5. All right, so again, part of what you're going to need to do in this section is determine what each of these are. All right, let's take a look at another one. 287 is what percent of 410? So again, the of tells me which one is the whole. So I know that that number is going to be the whole, which makes this number, since it does not have a percent sign next to it, must be the part, and since I don't have anything with a percent, that's going to be my x. So I'm kind of using process of elimination, right? I'm going to use the word of to help me figure out what this is. I'm going to use the percent sign to help me figure out what this is, which means whatever is left is the part. And if you remember from the last video, that's a lot of how we figured out the part here. It was process of elimination. The 100 was always down here. The percent was the number with a percent sign. The whole came after of. Whatever's left becomes the part. So it's going to be the same thing here. So this is going to be 287 equals, I don't know what the percent is, so I'll call that x, times 410. That means this is 287 equals, and I'll rewrite this as 410x, right? So the commutative property tells me that I can multiply in any order that I want to. And so now when I divide, and I'm going to divide 410 to both sides, I end up getting x equals 0.7. Now, this is where a lot of people make a mistake. That is not my final answer because it's asking me what percent. 0.7 is the percentage in decimal form. I need to transform this into a percentage, which means that my answer should be 70%. So 287 is 70% of 410. All right. Now, again, using part equals percent times whole, I need to figure out what is the part, what is the percent, what is the whole. The word of tells me that whatever comes next is going to be the whole. Since that is what number, that's the x, I don't know. So this is going to be 33 is my part, because 55 must be my percent. Remember, I need to write 55 in decimal form, and then this is going to be x. So I need to take 33, I need to divide that by 0.55. Sorry, a little slow with my calculator. Divided by 0.55, divided by 0.55, and x is going to be 60. Okay, since that's not the percent, that is my final answer. So 33 is 55% of 60. All right, then one final problem I want you to see. It's kind of more of a real-life problem. So you're buying a memory card that costs $130.20 after taxes. The sticker price, the price that was advertised, was $120 even. So, what percent sales tax did I pay? Now, this is one of those problems where you are going to need all the numbers to help you, but you are not necessarily just plugging these numbers into something like this. Okay, so keep in mind that this is not 120, this is not 130.20, and then I just need to make that x. This problem is going to require a little bit more thought, because if you think about the part of the number, the sales tax is the number above this, but below this. So what got me from here to here? So in other words, I got to take the $130.20 that I paid, subtract the initial cost, and so my sales tax was $10.20. That's my part. So I'm going 1020 equals, I don't know what the sales tax is, right? That's what I'm trying to figure out. But I know what the total cost, the whole cost, was 130.20. Okay, and so the idea here is that this is my part, this is my whole, and I can try to figure out now what the sales tax is. So then, I mean, if you want to rewrite it, it could be 1020 equals 130.20x. I'm purposely adding those zeros since we're talking about money, though you wouldn't necessarily need to. And so you're going 10.20 divided by 130.20. And I end up with x equals 0.7834 ... Okay, and I'm going to keep going. So now I need to figure out, sorry, put my decimal in the wrong spot, 0.0. 0.0783, 0.07834 ... Now, as I take that number and I want to change it to a percent, remember I can use my percent trick, which is 1, 2. So this is going to become, it's approximately, okay, it's not going to be an exact number, it's approximately 7.8% sales tax. Okay, and so I write these squiggly equal signs to make it so that it's obvious that I'm not talking about exactly, but I'm talking about approximately, right? And I can keep going on forever, but there's really no point. It's approximately 7.8% sales tax. Okay, so the key thing here to figure out is how did we get this number, right? And that was from doing that. All right, so that's all we got for you in using the percent equation. Please make sure that you practice using the equation and not necessarily the proportion, as it's vital that you understand how to do both methods. Don't forget to solve the problems on the bottom of the page. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you in class.